the event is meant to be a nexus point for a lot of different sorts of folks, a lot of sorts of different backgrounds and communities. You think about the academics, the publishers, the developers, the consumers, the funders, the nonprofits, of course, all of these folks who are really trying to leverage games for change in their own work, and all of them have a place there. And that is as true, I would say, of the actual attendees as it is for the speakers, right? So all of those backgrounds are totally applicable when you're thinking through, am I appropriate to be speaking at this organization? But more than that, right, we are thinking very thoughtfully about the content of those submissions. A couple of things that we mentioned, we're hoping for this event to ignite, inspire, and help us imagine the future of games for change. It's certainly going to be a forward-thinking event, less, say, reflective, and more looking for opportunities of new visions and new opportunities in the game space related to social impact. I'll say this explicitly as well, which is the fact that given that we're in a virtual festival, we have certain affordances, right? Our speakers are likely not going to be coming to a studio space or coming to any central location in order to give their talks. They'll be able to offer them to give them from wherever they are in the world. And we'll have a mix of live and pre-recorded content, mostly to keep the energy and engagement from our audience as participants as much as possible. I guess at this point, it might make more sense to just take a quick look at the form itself. So I'm going to screen share the site. So this is the Games for Change Festival site. As you see, we've got a couple of descriptions just about our tracks, which I mentioned earlier. All of that will continue to be updated with new speakers. But once we've got new information for who's going to be actually featured, we'll have it thrown on here. The two pages that will be most active and are the only ones active actually right now are the speaker submissions and award nominations. Both of these portals are going to be closing on Friday. So we definitely want you to get your submissions in as soon as possible. We will be closing specifically at 11:59 Eastern. Beneath this, you'll see some more descriptive language for each of the 4 tracks. I do want to bring special attention to our note on diversity. The festival is certainly a place for folks of all backgrounds to share our platform. And this is a goal of ours, not only culturally, but strictly, I would say, like for our curators, right? So this is going to be a core piece of how we're choosing who speaks at the festival. We want to ensure a diverse representation and really we want to help folks that are coming from traditionally marginalized communities share this platform and share their stories, which are super valuable for our community as well. So I think it's very important to just bring some specific reference here. A couple of key dates, which we mentioned. You should accept, or you should know whether or not your session is accepted by the end of March or so. We'll have opportunities to reach out to people in batches. It's not like we'll send notifications all out at once, given that the curation process does take a couple of weeks to really firm up and have conversations and make sure that everything feels coherent. So you'll be able to expect those over the course of those months. If you don't hear back in that time, feel free to shoot us a message. You can always reach the festival team by sending an email to festival@gamesforchange.org. And then, of course, our actual festival will be happening the 12th and 14th of July this summer. So just some obvious information, contact name, first and last. We want to know what company you might be affiliated with, an email address, and a phone number. This is going to be the person that we contact for any session idea. You might be imagining like, okay, well, I'm a speaker and I have an idea for a session. So I'm going to fill this out for myself and I'll be representing myself in that submission process. But there are also scenarios where you might be filling out a submission for a colleague or for somebody that you work for or for a panel maybe that you're organizing. This is also okay. We just want to make sure that there's one point person that Games for Change can reach out to, or that our curators can reach out to in order to ask more questions about your session, should we need to. And then we ask for some descriptive information. We've got a session title here, 10 words or less. That's an important note. We want it to be a compelling title and something that grabs attention easily. This doesn't need to be final necessarily, given that through the curation process, we can go back and forth and make adjustments, but it's a great opportunity for you to just make a provocative title that gets our interest immediately. Think through how descriptive your title might be for somebody who is unfamiliar with the work and who is coming to it for the first time, right? You want it to be attractive in that way. Then we're going to ask for you to isolate, if you can, a track or multiple tracks that your session might fall under. So definitely refer to those descriptions up top in order to know which ones are most appropriate. And then I've got a description here of all the different types of sessions that we're going to be hosting at the festival. We've got the 20-minute talk, which is, the one-to-many opportunity, very standard. There is an opportunity to have multiple speakers on there. 1 or 2 is kind of the limit. We've also got 45-minute panels in which we'll expect 4 to 6 speakers to discuss a topic, one of those being a moderator. Usually that moderator is the person who's filling this form out, but not always, and it's certainly a preference. Then we've got roundtables, which are slightly longer, 60 minutes. These are meant to be a bit more interactive and participatory for the attendees, as opposed to the panel, where they might just be listening for 45 minutes. The roundtable is meant to have a couple of folks, say, leading discussion, but we're providing ample opportunity for the actual audience to jump in and weigh in and be a part of the conversation themselves, a bit more than you would, say, in a Q&A, for instance. We're working on a slate of workshops that are going to be presented. This is a really special opportunity that we'll be talking a bit more about in the future. But the idea here, of course, is that we're putting together a slate of offerings where folks are going to be able to learn some practical skills and knowledge that they can then take back into their work. We're going to be tackling a couple different angles from the Games for Change side, and it's going to be helpful on that front. And then, of course, our project briefs. These are 5 to 10 minutes, usually an opportunity for a smaller project to kind of outline the scope of their work. It's easy for folks who have submitted in this category in the past to think about, okay, it's like a small piece of time. I can kind of use this as an extended ad for my product or for my game or for my service. That's not what we're looking for here. We're looking for, concrete case studies that are relevant to some of the themes that we talked about. And also relevant to the community as a whole, right? So maybe it's not this massive talk, but the project brief is a way for you to highlight your work at the festival in a really digestible, easy way. And it's fine for those to be a bit more introductory with a plan for folks to then follow up in different ways afterwards. So we'll ask you to select some of those session types. We'll write an abstract here, which is a general outline, 100 words or less. We'll ask for names, titles, affiliation, and brief bios for any of the speakers listed. If you've got a speaker website, that's great. Please include it. We love to see speakers' work on their own sites, and definitely it helps to talk through a bit more of their public speaking history, which we write down here, but some of that might be easily found on your website as well. Audience takeaways and impact goals. This is a reworked piece of our submission process this year. In the past, this was an extended description, but right now, really what we're asking you to be thoughtful of is, what are folks coming away with? What are the lessons that are being learned? What is the transformation that you're hoping to instill in the audience after they've heard you speak? All of that is really core, I think, to the mission of our organization and of this festival in particular. We want there to be concrete takeaways for everyone, given that there's going to be a lot of sessions. All of them need to be compelling and need to offer concrete value to our attendees, specifically if it's going to be a free and open event, as it will be. And then at the bottom, you've just got a couple of spaces for supporting materials. You can put anything here. It can be images, it can be PDFs, it can be any sort of extra material that you think would be helpful for us to review in relation to what you would present. If it's a talk that you've given before, right, it's appropriate to connect text here, or if it's even images, right, that stuff's all acceptable too. Then we just ask you to ensure that your submission is accurate and true, and where you heard about us. There you go. Then you see our contact information once again right at the bottom, and a quick outline of our review process. That is our open call form. But we're going to be posting this video on the Facebook, and hopefully we get some more questions coming through. If you have them, feel free to either post them on Facebook, they'll be redirected to me, or of course you can reach out to us directly, festival@gamesforchange.org. That's the easiest way to get in touch with everybody who will be able to answer any questions or concerns you might have. So once again, for everyone, we've got that deadline this Friday, February 12th, ending at 11:59 Eastern. And we usually anticipate a really big influx of submissions coming over the course of the next 48 hours. So put your polish on, make sure that your stuff's feeling relevant and timely to maybe some of the things I spoke about today. And we really look forward to reviewing all the awesome work that y'all are doing. So please do send it in. We hope that we can create a space for you to share at the Kansas Exchange Festival. So with that, I'll say goodbye and thank you so much. We appreciate your support. Looking forward to seeing everyone in July.